Hey guys, we're here with Radiant Clean. So we've had this ongoing problem with our hoses and our pressure washing hoses and our soft washing both. Because of the angle that these were attaching to the hose reel, it would crimp it at a sharp angle. And so we get this recurring problem where it would split the hoses and we get ongoing leaks coming from them. Okay, so you can see that kind of here. You see the stress that it's putting on the hose right here. It's because of this angle is coming out almost straight. So what I'm doing is I'm going to start putting these 45-degree angle. So I got some attachments that are 45-degree bend, and then I'm going to add a whip line. So and a whip line is just a smaller line that can attach, and this will be kind of a sacrificial line. So what I did is I bought a crimping machine, just a cheap little one from AliExpress. But what I have here is a whip line, and so this is a small line that I can then add to that 45-degree angle. And this will be kind of a sacrificial line because we have some of these old hoses that have holes in them over time. And so this is going to attach here. And then my main hose, I'm going to put a new end on it. We're going to cut that part off that is broken. So this part, I'm going to cut that off, add a new crimp on the end of it, so you can see where it's been leaking, and then attach that to the whip line. Now I'm going to experiment. These whip lines that I did might be a little long, but we'll see. But essentially, like I said, this is going to be sacrificial, so if this wears out, I don't have to buy a brand new hose every time it decides to pop. So I'm going to put a quick connect attachment here and then one on the new end. But I figured it was worth buying the crimper for, because you can see we have other lines here that are going to start going. These are starting to crack from just wear and tear and weathering. This one's been rubbing, so it's from vibration, so that's going to start to go. So I figured it was an investment to be able to replace a lot of these whip lines that are already on the skid and save myself some money. So these pressure lines, they're 200 feet, single strand lines, but they cost a lot of money. So I'll show you the attachment in a minute. All right, so as you can see, I've got a male quick connect fitting on here. Now I'm just going to attach this whip line to the connection there. Get this tightened on. Now I cheaped out and just got these from Amazon, so they don't have the swivel attachment, which I didn't feel was necessary because this is not a long hose, it's just a short hose, so it's easy to rotate. So I don't need to worry about that too much. So once I get these connected, I'm going to of course pressure test it and stuff, make sure we don't have any leaks. But, it looks like it's bending a little bit. There we go. Alright, so now I have the whip line on there. And we'll see. Just make sure this is tight enough. You see these bugs flying around. These are love bugs, which are the bane of our existence here in Florida. During the spring and fall, these things come out and they get all over your vehicles. Alright, so now the next step is to put a new attachment onto that. So I'm going to cut it and crimp it, and we'll be back with you. Ideally I would be doing this with an angle grinder, but what I do have is an attachment for my drill. So I'm just going to try to cut this off as straight as possible doing this. Smell great. Alright, so now that is cut off. And then we have these attachments. That get crimped. And so that just goes on there like that. Push it out as far as possible. Right. Now I'm going to make a mark here just to make sure it doesn't slip while I'm crimping it. And then I'll show you how to crimp it. So I've got this, I'm just going to make a mark so I make sure it doesn't slip too far. It's on there as far as it'll go. Now this is a time-consuming process because it's a manual pump, so it will take the pumping to go on correctly. But basically, I'm going to line this up in these dies. See if you can see that. I'm going to line that up in the dies that I've measured for this application. And then we're gonna okay, so I've got that hose in there. Make sure it's set to this is not a fast process, so what I do is I try to get it to about 30 pounds-ish of pressure on the dial because it's an automatic, so it does have a light that'll go on to theoretically tell you that it's crimped enough, but so you can see this will just take a little bit. See if that's enough. If it's not, we'll always redo it. Actually, they may have been right because it looks like it was almost a little too much going on there, but we will test it and see. So now I'm going to put a female fitting on this, quick connect fitting, so that in the field, if I need to, I can just pop this hose off and put a new one on to the whip line. So that'll make switching out hoses in the future a little bit faster. Alright, get this threaded up and we'll get it put on the truck. Alright, so as you can see here, I got the female quick connect put on it. The whip line has the male. That'll make it easier to fix in the future. So I'm gonna fill this up with water and or at least put some water in the tank and test this out, make sure that we don't have any leaks, and then we should be good to go. If this works well, I'm gonna do the same thing to our soft wash hose so we don't get that kink in it, and it extends the life of the hoses on those, because again, this is where it tends to leak, is right around this fitting, and it will put holes in the hose. So putting these 45-degree angles on is hopefully going to help a lot and cut down on hose costs. So all right, so I ended up getting rid of the whip line. So what was happening is it was having the same effect because it was coming in at too high an angle. So it was essentially doing the same thing that it was without the 45-degree. I put a female and male connector in there just to make swapping out the hose a little bit easier. I think in the future what I'm going to do is just get one of the swivel connectors, the crimp attachments, so I can more easily just put it on directly, because I think if it was on directly you'd get even less kink, because if you see rolling this, it's still bowing up, and that stress over time is what hurts the hose. So I think I'll try that next time, just get one of these with the swivel connector on it. But in the meantime, it's still going to save me money being able to just cut the end of these hoses off and replace it, rather than buying an entirely new hose when this one section starts to wear out. Obviously the hoses wear out over time, they get rusty, they get under high pressure, you start to need a new hose, but these were dying a lot faster than they should have, just because of how it was crimping. So we'll see how long this lasts and if those new crimps give me any problems. But so far I think it was worth buying that little crimping machine. Like I said, I just got it on AliExpress. It was like $400, which is about the cost of some of these hoses, anywhere from $300 to $400. So if I can save a couple hoses, it more than paid for itself. So all right guys, I'll let you know how it comes out if we have any updates on this. But like I said, I think the whip line unfortunately was I think it was a good idea, but it just didn't work out quite right. And then I'll update this next time I need to switch it out. So we'll talk to you soon guys. Have a good one. Bye.